Everybody knows that Devon loves Kong. He's literally the main reason I even started the fucking channel. It was to shit on Mechagodzilla, but
I'm not gonna say that Mechagodzilla has credit for the channel.
Anyways, everybody knows that I like Kong. And everybody knows that I will defend Kong against pretty much every titan except Godzilla, who I always say the screen shows us he defeated Kong. And usually I would never say that Kong would beat somebody who he lost to on screen.
However,
today is not that day. Today we're gonna go over Teen Kong versus Ramarak. And even though Kong won that fight on screen, he won it with a weapon. Today, I'm gonna explain to you why Kong, even without that weapon, would still defeat Ramarak. Obviously, this would be in a rematch. After I've gone over the rematch, I'll explain to you how a first meeting match would go without Kong having the experience of fighting Ramarak before. But this will start off as just a rematch. So the primary way for us to understand how this fight would go is to analyze how Kong versus Ramarak actually went on screen. And for us to properly analyze that, we're gonna go over my favorite thing, context. Now the context is pretty simple. We have Kong fighting the helicopters, Kong fighting skullcrawlers, Kong getting
lit on fire,
then going unconscious because he lost oxygen. And before he can get his oxygen back, the skullcrawler Ramarak pulls up, completely fresh. Ramarak no-diffs Kong because, Kong has no oxygen, therefore he can't really produce strength with his muscles. She, however, gets distracted, thinking that Kong is just cooked and dead, and then the actual fight starts. So, Kong at this point is injured, tired, and still recovering from a period of unconsciousness and lack of oxygen, and only then do they actually start the box. In the beginning of the fight, we can see that physically Ramarak is kind of just dominant over Kong, though this is an illusion, because primarily what she's doing is overwhelming him with her skills. Her skills are, as I've said in my skill Kong video, is primarily confusing the opponent with a barrage of strange underhanded attacks that keep the opponent guessing and or completely confused. And this is correct for Kong. He's confused, doesn't really know what's happening, getting cooked by a bunch of random underhanded attacks. Also, Ramarak can actually get her proper big blows, which are her bites. Her bites do absolutely no damage at all, and she does prove to be faster than this confused and weakened Kong. In terms of physical strength, she never really contends to him in that case, because the primary ways that she physically handles him is by off-guarding him with her tail. Then the fight stops because Ramarak sees a big ship and throws him at it, getting him hooked up on her webs. However,
this doesn't really mean much,
since it's just her taking advantage of some random ship. Is it battle intellect in that Ramarak realized, hey, if I throw him at this thing, I'll have an advantage? Yes, that is a feat of battle IQ, but it's also Ramarak
getting plot convenience on her side.
Without that, they would have just continued to fight. When Kong finally breaks through the chains, we get to round 2. The context in this is pretty simple. Kong just has a chain blade thingy-majiggy like he's Kratos. This blade allows Kong to catch Ramarak off guard. With that, he starts manhandling her, using a bunch of confusing underhanded attacks, and pretty much just copying and enhancing Ramarak's fighting style with his own, using striking as well as grappling and confusing attacks. He remembers never to let Ramarak's tail get behind him, and he does not give her a single room for a single breath. Is the chain blade helping him? Yes. Has he completely surpassed Ramarak in terms of skill? The answer on that is also yes. And in this case, we do actually see who's stronger between the two, and that is Kong, even while he is weakened, and mind you, even more weakened than he was before, due to having to expend a lot of energy breaking the chains. Which is all to say that weakened Kong is physically stronger, although relative to Ramarak. Ultimately, Kong uses the chain blade to slice Ramarak's throat. After that, he lets go of the chain blade, and even when Ramarak off-guards him, he still is capable of easily predicting her attack, slamming her onto the ground, and then the fight kind of just evolves into fighting over the girl, to which Kong
rips Ramarak's guts out.
And that's pretty much the end of the fight. From all of this, we can ascertain that a weakened Kong is physically stronger than Ramarak, or at least relative, and he is also relative in terms of combat speed, can tank all of Ramarak's physical attacks, and while he doesn't have the attack potency to necessarily slaughter her or cause external damages that are too bad, if Ramarak does try something stupid like trying to eat his arm, then she's getting her guts ripped out. Ultimately, both had plot advantages, but Kong, by the end of the fight, had adapted to Ramarak and didn't need any plot advantage to be able to just defeat Ramarak, let alone a full power Kong who is not weakened and thus would have an even bigger stat advantage. As I've established, and as we see right here, Kong no longer needs any sort of weapon or any sort of aid to be able to combat Ramarak. That would be a rematch in which Kong simply uses his newly acquired skills and significantly greater physical abilities to just stomp Ramarak. But how would a first meeting without Kong being weakened go? Ignoring the fact that Ramarak didn't come out until Kong is weakened, so
That's a fucking thing.
we've already established that when it comes to physical statistics, Kong should be at the very least a little bit stronger, a little bit faster, and just by feats, he can tank everything Ramarak does. And we've already established that it only takes him a little bit of time, a little bit of fighting to be able to adapt to Ramarak. And given this is going to be a versus battle without any plot advantages, Ramarak won't have that ship and Kong won't have that chainblade. So it's essentially just going to be them fighting for like 5 to 10 minutes until Kong completely learns her, then turns the tables and
Simply ends up murdering her.
Kong is the king of Skull Island, and there's a reason that Ramarak did not come out until the guy was weakened.